honed in on the Nets and that he was trying to convince KD. So I can't say I'm surprised at all. But what I will say is this. I do think, as we were hearing all year about KD and the Knicks, I do think he was zeroed in on the Knicks. But I think a few things happened to change his mind. What I don't think happened to change his mind is that the Knicks weren't willing to give him the max. Like, I don't believe that, period, first of all, from talking to the Knicks after KD got hurt to talking to the Knicks today and yesterday, talking to them yesterday. I think they were going to offer him the max, and I think this is spin from either, like, I'm told they didn't talk internally or with KD's reps about offering him anything less than the max.
That's big.
I think this is spin from either James Dolan getting it out there so it doesn't look like the Knicks got rejected for Brooklyn, or from KD's camp so it doesn't upset people in New York that, oh, you rejected the Knicks
to go play with.
Right, for the Nets. So,
but you do think he rejected the Knicks?
Ultimately, yeah. I mean, he didn't choose. And look, he's not even getting the max from Brooklyn.
Nope.
He's taking less to go to Brooklyn so they can get DeAndre Jordan. DeAndre Jordan was trying to get KD and Kyrie to go to the Knicks. And DeAndre was like, I'm going to go wherever you guys go. But his preference was New York. Okay, so I think what happened was when KD got hurt, that changed everything. Because the Knicks, all along, it was two guys they were willing to go all in on for the max. Kawhi Leonard or Kevin Durant. They would take someone else, Kyrie, Kemba, maybe Jimmy Butler, with one of them, if that's what it took. So with Kyrie, it was like, we want KD, and we'll take Kyrie with KD. But once KD gets hurt, now he's out for a year. Now you face the prospect of having Kyrie lead your team and your locker room for a year. And they were concerned about that. So that turned things. The second thing was, and I don't know if it was related to that, but Kyrie deciding on Brooklyn. Like, I don't know how much he was ever in on the Knicks, but when it became apparent he was all in on Brooklyn, that shifted things too. Because KD, especially with the injury, didn't want to go there by himself.
Right.
So it's like, if Kyrie's not going there, and Kyrie did grow up, he grew up where I live in New Jersey. He grew up a Nets fan. His father had season tickets when Kyrie was little. So this may be like a dream come true for Kyrie. I know Spencer Dinwiddie's been recruiting him like since December. So he has some relationships there. And I think, I'm going to say this too, because a lot of people are killing these guys. I think this showed some self-awareness. All year we've been talking about how KD and Kyrie do not like dealing with aggressive and abrasive media. Right? Whether you want to call them sensitive or whatever it is, they don't like it. I think they thought about that. And I think they said, look, in Brooklyn, we can get the benefit of living in New York, playing in New York, without, you're going to have scrutiny because it's Brooklyn and it's the NBA, but without as intense a media scrutiny as we would get with the Knicks. And so I think that played a role as well.
New York City outlets, the Manhattan outlets, are going to cover the Brooklyn Nets.
But there's still a difference. I covered the Nets for the New York Times when they had John Calipari. So we covered them hard, but it is still, as you know, it's a difference. But, you know, today's world, you get scrutinized wherever you're at. But I think there will be a little difference in the daily.
So last question before you go. Bottom line, why did Kevin Durant choose the Nets, in your humble estimation? Why?
I think there was nobody else he really wanted to go to New York with that was going to go there with him. I don't think Kyrie was necessarily going to go there with him.
Okay.
So,
bottom line, he chose it because of Kyrie.
But I mean, I think there's like everything I said, I think is kind of mixed in there. I think if he doesn't get hurt, maybe he's willing to go there alone. Maybe he's willing to say, if Kyrie won't go, Kemba. You know what I mean? So I think I'm going to say the injury changed everything. That's the number one factor that changed everything.
What's more concerning to me, Skip, not concerning, that's eye-opening, is that Kevin Durant didn't get the max from the Nets, and he already left $57 million on the table with Golden State. So he's leaving somewhere around $65, maybe $65 million to say, you know what? No, they're going to be the favorites again. Kevin Durant comes back in 2 years, not next year, but 2 years. They're going to be the favorite. Said, nah, I want to go play with my friends. I would rather win a title with my friends and be happy as opposed to winning championships with teammates, because I believe that's how Kevin Durant viewed him, because he came along later. We're already in high school. We didn't go through K through, come up to junior high and all that together. He got there, they were already Steph, Clay, and Draymond were already sophomores. The other guys come in, you come in my sophomore year, bro. Yeah, we cool, we gonna get along. You in my homeroom, but it's not the same. I think these guys march, they do things their way. And because we'd been hearing right before the draft, not the draft, before the All-Star game, that KD and Kyrie are a package deal. And then we saw them talking during the All-Star game, and that's when it really, really ramped up, Skip, like, okay. And, they were basically, they wouldn't have their hands over their mouth. They were just talking. And when a reporter asked them, I was like, it's just two friends talking. Why do you guys automatically assume? So this had started brewing around a little bit before the All-Star game, and it went full circle. So I'm not surprised. I just felt that the Nets had the better situation. They do. Top to bottom. Ownership, the organization structure. The head coach, I believe, is better at the Knicks. With Fizdale, I believe he's a better head coach.
I do,
but
too.
the pieces on the team with the Nets are better than what they have in New York. So for me, KD and Kyrie, nothing surprises me about them, because KD went to Golden State. Nobody saw that coming. And the way Kyrie acted once he got to a situation that he demanded that he be in. He demanded, like, if you don't trade me, Cleveland, I'm tempted to have surgery and sit out for the entire season. So a situation that he fought so hard to get into, he ruined that. So I'm not surprised at all. But KD, it just tells you everything you need to know about KD and his situation in Golden State by doing what he did, taking even less money than what he could have got in Golden State.
How much do you think the narrative, getting away from that narrative of
That was the most
you were
important thing for
front-runner,
him. That was the most important thing for him.
which I think you do. If he wins it with Brooklyn, then I think he totally gets away from that narrative. Although I think the narrative was dispelled to a great degree with what happened in this year's playoffs.
I cannot get comfortable with this. I'm shocked by it, much more than you two are. I'm disappointed in Kevin. I think he made a huge mistake. I don't think he'll ever think that, and I'm not going to condemn him for it. But this feels like the kind of decision you make when you want to semi-retire. And I'm not saying that winning still isn't a priority, but you had a chance to go do something very special with the Knicks. They still play in the most hallowed arena in all of sports. And they still play in New York City. And they're the biggest sleeping giant in all of sports, and it's not even close. They haven't won a championship since 1973. And I think in his heart of hearts, he knew, got to do that. I got to do that. If you're talking about legacy, got to do that. But friendship won out.
Yes.
Because he didn't have that close friend with the Warriors.
Nope.
And this is his closest friend. And the closest friend is saying, Kay, I'm going to the Nets. I love the Nets. I grew up loving the Nets. I'm going here. I'm going here. And he kept beating on him until finally KD said, okay, I give up.
Right.
I'll follow you to the Nets. And it comes across to me like, of this partnership, the alpha is Kyrie, that he won out. That Kevin could have said, okay, I'll go it alone, or I'll go it with Kemba or Jimmy or whoever it was. But no, it's friendship. And it's sweet on a certain level, because I think they're really genuinely tight. But it's childlike to me in that it almost comes across like, I want to go spend the night at Kyrie's house. That's where, in the end, I want to go there. And Mama said it's okay. She said it's okay if I want to go spend the night at Kyrie's house, but I'm going to go spend it over there in Brooklyn, and I'm tired of fighting. It comes across like Kevin saying, I'm tired of fighting. I fought with Russell, and he loved Russ off the court, but they fought on the court like crazy, and he couldn't make peace with that. And then he had to fight with Draymond, and he had to fight Steph's legacy in Golden State. And after a while, he just said, I'm tired of it. I don't want to have to go fight for the Knicks. And again, they have a horrible culture, and they have the worst owner in sports. I get that. That's why that would have been the crowning achievement to his career if you can win in spite of James Dolan. But David Fizdale is really good at what he does. And I think he'd be really fun to play for.
And I think their front office is good. Like, I mean, you mentioned
Scott
James
Perry.
Dolan. Yeah, Scott Perry, the GM, Steve Mills, president. Like, I think they've revamped that front
I do
office to
too,
be
okay?
a good job.
And by the way, Sean Marks is just a flat-out stud. And if you sit with him for 2 minutes, you'll be won over.
Right.
And I'm sure Kevin was won over. So I got that. I'm understanding that, but it's still the Clippers of New York. It's still in Brooklyn, and it's not playing the Palace. It's not like I want the bright lights of New York City, the city that never sleeps.
Does KD understand that Kyrie is more like Russ than he thought? Minus the assist
but
and
he's
the
a
rebound.
lot different, too, though.
He doesn't assist the ball
No,
like
he's
Russ.
somewhere in the middle. Like, it won't be like playing with Russ. Kyrie, I think, is a smarter player. I think he's... Kyrie's going to be the 1B. Like, Russ would never just be the second guy or the 1A.
Right.
Kyrie's been that to LeBron, and his
he hated
personality may be more of an alpha.
And he hated it.
You could be right, and they might come
He
to
hated it,
hate
Chris.
playing
Remember,
with each
he was
other.
that second.
He gonna be that to KD, but KD's not gonna bring the ball up as much as LeBron did.
Let me ask you a
and,
question.
all
Let's just
that.
say for the sake of argument, Kyrie gets there, he drops 28, 6, and 5, gets him to the playoffs.
He better get them to the playoffs.
And KD comes back. Oh, he gonna go to 1B, huh?
He's not nearly as good as Kevin Durant.
He wasn't as good as LeBron.
And they won a championship. And he called LeBron and apologized. He's more mature. I think he's learned.
He come after the fact, because that's easy.
Now, this is nothing like Russ. His game, Kyrie's game is much different than Russ's. Much different.
Yeah,
than
he
Russ.
doesn't assist the ball, he doesn't rebound the ball. It's much different.
But just because you get a high number of assists, Russ' usage rate is so high. Of course, he's gonna get a ton
What
of
if
assists.
Kyrie got those?
It's not as high as
But it's
Russ's.
higher, right?
Hey, trust me on this. KD and Kyrie are at the top of the list of Moody. They're at the top of the
No
Moody
question.
list.
So what happens? So what happens with that? What we
I
gonna
don't
do?
They
know.
gonna be tough. They gonna be good. They gonna be great. I'll say this, Skip, about the whole New York Knicks thing. And you're not from New York. I'm not from New York. I do think it's overblown. Like, when I got to New York to work as a reporter, I was shocked how Knicks reporters and people in New York thought the Knicks were this special national franchise.
They do.
Like, they think they're the Lakers or the Cowboys or the Yankees, and they're not. So I agree with you. In New York, and because New York still dominates the media, there would have been something more to winning with the Knicks. But for the most part, nationally, I don't think people are looking at it as, like, the Knicks aren't like the Lakers. Like, the Lakers are so great and the Clippers are underneath them.